This is a very simple yet profound Yang style Neigong, and a lot of people don't know this one. And I found documentation in China on it, but I still hear from a lot of Yang style people that, oh, that's not the method. Well, maybe your teacher never taught it to you. My teacher, Sifu Shin Hao Chen, says this is a very powerful Qigong to develop internal power. He learned it from a champion push hands player, and that you want to be celibate while practicing this. Your girlfriend's not going to like it. If you do have sex, wait 24 hours before doing it. So what's happening? I'm inhaling as I raise my hand, holding the breath, inhaling a little bit more on the second raise hands, and then exhaling. So it's an inhale, hold, inhale some more, and exhale. Inhale, hold, inhale a little bit more, now exhale. You should feel the whole body filling up. The whole chest cavity, the upper cavity, the abdominal cavity, the pelvic cavity, everything is being engaged. Jayo.
Come back to the deep dive. Today, well, we're digging into something quite specific from Yang-style Tai Chi Neigong. It's an exercise for building internal Jin, internal power.
Exactly. And our source is Sifu Chen Halchin via a YouTube video from Dr. Matthew Stamp.
Right. So the mission here is to sort of unpack this Neigong practice. What are the key bits? What does it really mean if you're looking to explore that inner power?
Precisely. It's a very focused technique.
Okay, so let's get into it. It starts from Wu Qi, that kind of ready, relaxed posture.
That's right, the foundation.
And then there's this pretty unique breathing pattern. Can you walk us through that?
Sure. So you're in Wu Qi, and then it's inhale.
Okay.
Then inhale again, like right on top of the first breath.
Double inhale.
Yeah. Then you hold it for just a moment, and then comes this, well, quite forceful exhale.
Okay, hold in forceful exhale.
Yeah.
And where's the focus during that exhale?
That's the crucial part. As you breathe out, you're consciously directing your chi, your energy, down to the dantian, that spot in the lower abdomen, and then pushing it further right down into your feet.
Into the feet too. Interesting. So why that downward focus? Dantian and feet.
Well, the thinking in Tai Chi is often about grounding, rooting yourself.
Right.
The dantian is seen as this major energy center, like a reservoir.
Yeah.
So you're charging it up, essentially, and then grounding that energy through the feet. It builds stability, a base for generating that internal force, that Jin.
Like plugging into the earth almost.
Kind of, yeah. That's a good way to think about it.
Now the video had this specific recommendation about when to practice it. Something about waiting 24 to 48 hours after sex.
It did mention that.
Because it builds internal Jin. Now, we're pretty sure Jin was just a slip for Jin, right?
Almost certainly, yeah. Jin makes perfect sense in this context, meaning internal power.
But that timing advice,
Yeah.
what's the likely reasoning there?
It's, well, likely tied into broader ideas about energy cultivation found in, various internal arts. The idea might be about conserving a certain kind of refined energy, or maybe allowing the body's energy systems to settle before doing this kind of intense cultivation work.
Okay, so a conservation principle, perhaps?
Perhaps. Allowing energy to gather before you actively work with it.
Gotcha. And how many times should you do this sequence?
The video was pretty straightforward, suggests doing it a good dozen times or so.
So not a huge time commitment for the exercise itself.
No, relatively brief. Which leads to the next point. Where does it fit in your overall Tai Chi practice?
Right, because the video mentioned doing it either before or after the form.
Exactly, before or after, but it also stressed that the form is going to be a lot more important.
Ah, okay. So this Neigong isn't the main dish, it's more like a supplement.
That seems to be the implication, yes. It's a tool to potentially enhance what you're doing in the form.
How do they work together then? The form and this breathing exercise?
Well, think of the form as teaching you the structure, the coordination, the flowing movement, the vehicle for expressing Jin.
Okay.
And Neigong exercises like this one, they help cultivate the engine, the internal energy, the focused intention, the root that powers those movements and makes them internally connected, not just external shapes.
Building the engine before you fine-tune the driving. Makes sense.
Exactly.
So this deep dive really focused on just one specific method from Yang style Neigong. Our source was quite brief on this.
It was, yeah. It's a snapshot. It definitely hints that there's a much wider world of Neigong practices out there for developing internal skill. This is just one piece.
Okay, let's quickly recap then. We looked at a specific Yang style Neigong breathing exercise. Key parts are the double inhale, the hold, the strong exhale.
And that crucial focus, directing the qi down to the dantian and the feet.
Right. Aimed at building internal Jin and seen as something to support but not replace the main Tai Chi form practice.
Precisely. Breath, intention, grounding, those are the core elements here.
So, a closing thought for you listening. Think about this idea of focused breath and directing energy internally. How does that connect or maybe even contrast with how you usually think about your own energy or sense of well-being? Are there other practices you know of, maybe completely different ones, that seem to touch on similar ideas of cultivating some kind of internal power? Something to ponder